In order to start my test, I'm going to do a safe start in order to build pressure. And before I do my safe start, I want to make sure my gauge is below 90. So I'm going to lose pressure. So my gauge is now below 90 psi. And now let's do my safe start. Clutch is neutral. Press the clutch all the way down.
But you had it in the ignition on? When you do that, when you pump the brakes?
No, I turn the ignition on to see the gauges.
Oh, okay, no más.
And once I see the gauges below 90, then I just turn it on.
Oh, below 90. Okay.
Always just turn the ignition on just to see the gauges. So now my first test is going to be my air brake cutout. And my cutout should be no more than 140 psi and no less than 120 psi.
140.
In order to speed up the process, I will accelerate no more than 1200 RPMs.
Which one?
I'm just going to accelerate no more than 1200 just to speed up the process.
12. So it goes to 12?
Yeah, you don't want to no more than 12 on the RPMs. It's a cutout.
Yeah, ¿cuál vas a mirar?
So my cutout, the primary cutout at 121 psi, making this a good test because it was not below 120 and it wasn't over 140 psi. Now for my next test, I'm gonna do my 460 test. And I'm gonna apply my brake for 60 seconds and I should not lose more than 4 psi. I'm gonna pull my first gear. Right here. And this one, you're always look at the primary. You could sometimes look at the secondary if the pressure, let's say on it pops
So
out.
¿eso significa esta primary y secondary?
Hey, most of the time it's always going to be the primary. So I start first gear and I turn the truck off. Once I turn it off, I let go of the clutch. I turn the ignition on. Apply both of the brakes.
Does it say right there, primary and secondary? Or?
The one has a P.
Okay.
That's primary.
And secondary, okay.
So once this stops hissing, I apply the brake all the way down. And then my needle's going to stabilize. It's stabilized at 91 psi. My minute starts now. And when you push the brake, make sure it's all the way down too.
1 minute?
For 1 minute.
You gotta have a timer on a watch, are you?
You could use your phone or there might be a timer. And right here we're going to say my minute is up. My needle is at 91 psi, making this a good test because I did not lose more than 4 psi. And right here for my next test, I'm going to do my lower warning. It's going to be a light or a buzzer, and it should not come on any lower than 55 psi. And now I'll apply my brake to lose pressure. So my lower warning came on at 60 psi, making this a good test because they did not come on any lower than 55 psi. And now for my next test, I'm going to do my parking and my trailer brake pop out. They should not pop out any lower than 20 psi. Alright, so my parking and trailer brake popped out at 25 psi, making this a good test because they did not pop out any lower than 20 psi. And now for my next test, I'm going to do my parking brake, trailer brake, and my service brake test. In order to do that test, I will build pressure to the maximum capacity by doing another safe start. It's neutral, the brakes are already out. And while I wait to build pressure, I'm gonna do my in-cab inspection. So here, my seatbelt. My seatbelt is probably mounted to secure to the truck. It's not ripped or torn. Latches, non-latches properly. My seat is probably mounted to secure to the truck. It's not bent, broken, has no illegal welds at the bottom, and it is adjusted to the driver. Here I have my door. My door opens and closes properly. The hinges on my door are not bent, cracked, or broken. They have no illegal welds. And also the seal around my door is not ripped, faded, torn to prevent any leaks from coming into the cabin. And here on my window is not cracked, not broken, no illegal stickers. The seal on my window is not ripped, faded, torn. It goes up and down properly. Here my mirror. My mirror is probably mounted secured to the truck. The mirror is not cracked, not broken, it has no illegal stickers, and it's adjusted to the driver. And here I go to my windshield. My windshield is not cracked, not broken, it has no illegal stickers. The seal around my windshield is not ripped, or torn to prevent any leaks from coming into the cabin. Yeah, my windshield wipers. My windshield wipers are not bent, cracked, or broken, they have no illegal welds. The rubber blade is not ripped, or torn. It has the proper tension to clean my windshield. And also, my washers. My washers are not bent, cracked, or broken. They have no illegal welds, and they're working properly to apply fluid to clean my windshield. And from here, I go to the gauges. My engine oil pressure should normally be reading between 35 and 75 psi. My coolant temperature should normally be reading between 175 and 195 degrees Fahrenheit. My tachometer reads my revolutions per minute. My speedometer reads my miles per hour. My voltmeter reads my voltages, and it should normally be reading between 12 and 15 volts. And here I have my depth gauge. My depth gauge is working properly, and it should be filled to the proper level, or no less than 1/8. And here I have my fuel gauge. My fuel gauge is working properly, and I have enough fuel to reach my destination. Here I have my primary and my secondary air gauges are working properly. And here I go to my switches. My trailer handbrake is working properly. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, and it is not used for parking. Here, my wipers and my washers are working properly. And over here I go to my air conditioning. My heater and my defrosters are all working properly. My parking brake, my trailer brake, and my ignition switches are working properly. They're not bent, cracked, or broken. They have no illegal welds. Here are my steering wheel. My steering wheel is not bent, cracked, or broken. It's not missing any hardware. It has no more than 2 inches free of play. And my city horn, my country horn are working properly. Yeah, my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my forward flashers are all working properly. And my running lights, my headlights, and my high beams are working properly. My clutch is not bent, cracked, or broken. It has no illegal welds, and it should have between 1 and 2 inches of free play. And here I have my brake pedal. My brake pedal is not bent, cracked, or broken, and is properly adjusted. My accelerator is also not bent, cracked, or broken, and it's not sticking or binding. My shifter is in good condition, it's not bent, cracked, or broken, it has no illegal welds. My splitter is working properly. The boot around my shifter is not ripped, frayed, or torn to prevent any leaks or any fumes from coming into the cabin. And in my truck I have an emergency kit with 3 reflective triangles, red in color. I also have a fire extinguisher up to date with the pin attached and fully charged. And I have a box of spare fuses in case of an emergency. And that concludes the air brake and the in-cab inspection. And I'll continue with the air brake test. First, I'm gonna test my parking brake. So I'll put it in low gear. I'm gonna push in the trailer brake, and I'm gonna let go of the clutch slowly until I feel a tug. And hands off the steering wheel. Just hold on. Alright, so my parking brake is working properly because my truck did not move forward, making this a good test. Now test my trailer brake, and I'll push in the parking brake. So my trailer brake is working properly because my truck did not move forward, making this a good test. Now for my final test, I'm going to test my service brake test. So I'm going to apply both my brakes. I'm going to move forward no more than 10 feet and up to 5 miles an hour with both hands off the steering wheel.
Your service brake?
You're good?
Yeah.
I'm gonna test the service brake.
The what?
The service brake, this the brake pedal. That's the color too. So I'm gonna let go of the clutch, let it move forward a little bit. Should go straight. So my service brake is working properly. I'm gonna check the nozzle to the left and to the right. And it made a complete stop, making this a good test. So I'll put it in neutral. I'll both the brakes out. And once I move my feet from the pedals, my hands off the steering wheel, that concludes the air brake test. And that's it right there.
How far you had to go forward?
10 feet.
10 feet?
10 feet, güey.
Yeah.
Chato,